All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you're all having a great day so far. Wanted to jump on and do a quick Facebook Live for y'all. Hopefully, just throw this out there. Hopefully, y'all have been checking out the content this month in the membership site and you've explored the video vault and you've found that helpful. We're talking, obviously, this month on polyautoimmunity and how many chronic diseases can coexist with Hashimoto's. Not to scare you, but just so you're aware of potentially what can go on. All right. But the focus for this live is going to be on weight loss, but it's also beyond just that, actually. Okay. So this is going to be of interest to you, especially if you are somebody, again, who has been struggling with weight and you've changed your medications, you've talked to your doctor about this, and you keep exploring this with them and nothing's really working. You've been on desiccated versus synthetic replacement. Maybe you've tried keto and AIP and carnivore and whatever else out there, and nothing's really working. Because here's what happens, and tell me if you relate to this, that you do one of these diet plans, you do something, and you see some progress. And I had somebody not too long ago who told me that she was eating 1,000 calories per day, and she lost 6 pounds in about 4 months. And that's not really great, is it? And what would happen was that she would gain the weight back whenever she would eat normal again and raise her calories and reintroduce foods again. So you know what that is really suggesting? If that's what's happening for you and you're getting results when you do that, but you gain it back or you can't maintain normalcy in order to keep this weight off, it means that you're fighting your metabolism. You're pushing way too hard. And it's like trying to squeeze out a lemon. It's like trying to squeeze the juice out of a lemon, and you've already got all the juice out of it, but you're squeezing a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more drops out of it, and that's what's happening with weight loss there. It's a good analogy. I just made that up, but I think that's really what it is. Is you're squeezing, and you're hopeful that you get some benefit out of it, and you do, but then you keep squeezing and try to do more of it, and it doesn't work anymore. So then you're back to square one, okay? And this is the problem because we're trying to tackle weight loss. This is what society and mainstream medicine and social media gurus have been kind of indoctrinating, I think, is that we can just cut calories and change our diet and exercise and that's going to solve these problems. But it's not. When you're dealing with chronic disease like Hashimoto's and inflammation, that's exactly the reason why it's so difficult. Your hormones have to be balanced, plain and simple. If you're TSH, you're total T4, they're not in range, and really if you have symptoms, now I will say that you can lose weight and still be symptomatic to some degree. But if you have a lot of inflammation, you have a lot of root issues still, and you have blood sugar imbalances, wacky hormones still, or high TSH, not balanced total T4, raging antibodies potentially, this is why weight loss isn't happening. It's not happening with eating less and exercising more. And that's not going to work. Your game plan is not the same for the average person walking down the street without Hashimoto's or a thyroid problem. Okay. Hopefully you've learned that by now and you've checked out the material in this course in the membership site because I talk about this relentlessly, and you can put two and two together hopefully and see that this is where the issues are. Okay. So if that's not the case, Justin, you're saying, then what do I do then if that's not what I need? Well, okay. I will say that diet does matter. Yes, you should make sure you're eating appropriate amounts of food, not too much, not too little. And that's the danger for one thing. Eating too low calories for too long is going to really be stressful to the body. It's going to make things worse. And in fact, you're going to gain weight. A lot of times I see that. And exercise has to be managed. It has to be balanced. You can't do too much either. You can't do nothing, but you can't just, and that's another thing I find is that people sometimes just assume walking is enough or something like that. And it's really not, because you need to stimulate your muscles, and that's what releases HGH, and that's very, very important for weight loss and muscle gain and all these benefits for a female. So, so even when that's dialed in, it's not going to be enough usually, especially if you want to stop this cycle of just doing this month after month after month, year after year, and you're kind of taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, or whatever however you want to look at it, because it shouldn't be this difficult. You shouldn't have to be like grasping for straws every time you're trying to lose weight and make it this marathon run. Okay, it's not how it's supposed to be. It should be you should be able to lose weight without putting your body through so much stress, or mental stress rather, and get where you want to be and then learn how to maintain it. Okay, so you have to get your physiology and your metabolism to a place of safety, of balance, and in order for the balance to take place, it has to feel, your body has to feel safe. Okay, so that's actually the secret to this. No, you can't buy safety in a bottle. I'm sorry. Okay, and this is what we have to come to realize, is that if you want a quick fix, then you're going to do the things that you've been told to do and have done. That's going to give you marginal results. It's not going to be long sustainable. I'm just giving you some tough love here today, ladies, because I don't want you to suffer. I want you to figure this out, but I'm telling you from my experience with clients over the years and what I see currently, I have a client of mine who's lost 11, 12 pounds in about 8 weeks. I didn't give her a diet plan. I didn't give her any supplements to do. I didn't give her a workout routine. She was doing enough in those areas, but I didn't need to babysit and monitor or look at it, because that's not what she needed. It was stress, it was trauma, it was anxiety, it was all these other things that was getting in the way. So that's why I continue to say these things, and that's not the first time I've seen that. All right, so do what you need to do in the diet exercise department, but you do it, leave it alone, and put your focus somewhere else, because it's not going to be enough to do that. And I shouldn't have to tell you that, right? I mean, I think that you know that if it's been such a struggle doing that, then it's not what you need anymore. Okay, so I really wholeheartedly say don't waste your time trying to find another diet to do, because it's not going to change it. It's not the actual problem. You're dodging around the root issues, which is inflammation, hormonal imbalances. Okay, and why is that happening? Well, the body is under attack, right? It's under assault. And so it doesn't feel safe, right? Now, it doesn't feel safe because, well, it doesn't feel safe for one thing because your immune system is attacking yourself. You might think that, but it's doing the best it can given its programming and what it's trying to do. Honestly, in my opinion, this is more about a philosophical thing, even though the genetics are kind of running the show to a degree, mixed in with the environment. It's trying to protect you. It's always trying to protect you, but it's confused, okay? Now, what causes that confusion to attack your thyroid and your other tissues to create this array of symptoms? Well, it's stress and a lack of safety, all right? So over the years, and this is why you have to really dissect your history in your life and see what you've been through. You've been through a lot of stress, and the more your body feels under stress, whether it's physical or mental, it starts to get the signal that it's not safe, okay? And when it doesn't feel safe, this is when things go awry and you start to have an increased lack of tolerance, meaning you start reacting inappropriately to things, toxins, chemicals, pathogens, food, beauty products, you name it, right? And this is why people get more and more intolerances over the years. And that's why you might be at a place now where you can only eat like 6 foods. Okay, it didn't start that way. It accumulated over the years. So now you have to go backwards and say, all right, well, where did this first start? When did I first start noticing a sensitivity to dairy and to bananas and to cantaloupe and you know, carrots, whatever, and plastic or whatever chemicals you might be around too, and just noticing that, because there are certain events and circumstances I've seen people go through divorce or not a natural disaster, but it can happen, or abuse, or had a bad breakup or a marriage issue or financial problem, and COVID hits, you know, these sort of things, and how are you coping with the situation? Because that starts early in childhood, and with challenges that we're facing, emotional abuse, emotional neglect, for example, very, very subtle things that leave an imprint on the body. And when we start to perceive things as I'm not good enough and I can't amount to anything, and my mom tells me I'm fat and I need to lose weight, or you just feel unworthy and inadequate, then it really sending a signal of danger and you're moving into survival, okay? Especially if you were already in situations where there was threat. So think about that, because there is a big component of that, and yeah, genes can dictate like what your immune system is going to obviously react to, but it starts much earlier, and over the years you start to have antibodies and immune system that starts to react to a lot of things, because the stress is really fueling this immune response. Like you could already have the programming for of an immune system to attack things because of the genes, but stress and cortisol, especially from traumas and other stress, can actually put gas into the fire, and that's really what happens too. But through that mechanism that's one way that can happen. But just the fact of the matter is that there's a level of unsafeness that your body's feeling. So you do your best to deal with the root issues, of course, and discovering that, as I've shown you through the past year, literally, what those can be. But you also have to psychologically, mentally find safety within. Because if you don't have that, then your hormones won't get in balance, really, and your immune system won't calm down. And in order for weight loss to happen, your body has to feel safe. Just like fertility. Would you get pregnant if you were in a war zone? No. Okay? So your body does not feel safe. Even if you are like, well, no, I feel safe, I feel happy, I'm confident, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you might be consciously, but subconsciously you're not. A part of you doesn't feel safe. Part of you feels something else. Your body is going to show that too, because there are biomarkers that can show you that. Check your heart rate variability, check your cortisol awakening response, check your saliva cortisol levels, things like that. And you can start to see, well, how your circadian rhythm is and really how much stress your body is under. Because these are signs and clues that you're not in a safe environment, whether that's from program from the past that's bleeding into the present day, or with present stress. And usually it's both. There's stuff in the past that's already hardwired, there's stress response, and there's daily stress now that's fueling everything too and adding to the fire. And that's already, you become more a lot of people become more sensitive to things over the years after early adversity. My mom's a good example of that, honestly. So that's just part of the physiology, but you have to really take a step back and see, like, how safe is my body in? Because if you're under a lot of stress right now then your body doesn't feel safe. If you feel like you have stress under control, cool, but your body might still be feeling unsafe. It's tricky. I understand that, but this is the ticket to weight loss. If you want to solve this problem, you have to feel safe. It has to get to this place of equilibrium, because weight loss is, I'm sorry to say this, but your body does not care about your vanity and your passions and your desires and wishes. It cares about survival. So you might want something in an outcome and you want this to happen within 4 weeks, or by the end of the year, I want to lose 15 pounds. Great, I hear you, but it contradicts exactly what's happening and what the body's experiencing. Because if it feels dangerous, if it feels under threat, if it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't matter what you think and want. It doesn't matter. And this is the problem too with the way diet culture is and what you've been told to do, is because if we cut calories further and exercise more, it just adds more to the stress that's already under. And this is why I hate, it's really hard to see this, because people are actually digging themselves in a deeper hole by cutting out more foods, I think, than they need to, over-exercising, cutting out more calories, because you can only get so many results with that. It works for a little bit, but then it stops. That's the law of adaptation, okay? This is just part of what happens with anybody. So you can't do anything for too long, because then you adapt, and then you get to do something else. Okay, myself included, if I was going to lose weight again, it'd be the same thing. So you add in hormones, inflammation and autoimmune disease and trauma or stuff from the past, you've already got a bucket really filled up, and now you're adding this other level of stress of eating less, exercising more, and now you're wondering why you're not losing weight. Okay, your stress bucket was already filled up, and now we're adding all this other stuff we're doing, thinking it's going to help us, but it really doesn't. Can you see how tricky that is? Can you see how, wow, that really sucks to hear? That might be true as well. But I'm not saying it's true for everybody, but it is very, very common, and you can see the frustration in people and women I've spoken to. So analyze this for yourself, because this is really what does happen. Is we think we're doing ourselves a favor, but we're actually compounding the problem further. Okay, so I know I rambled a lot quickly, but the whole general point here is, you have to your body has to feel safe, and that's the $1 million question. What's causing it to not feel safe? Is it toxins and infections? Is it gut issues, inflammation? Right? Okay, those things we might know about, or is it deeper stuff that's buried away, and it's unworthiness, inadequacy, shame, fear, guilt, anger, resentment, and domestic life stuff, work stuff, relational stuff, and things like that. and whatever your behaviors are doing, that's probably adding to the problem too. So this is why I say that if you're going to make a change in your Hashimoto's progress and see better progress, like weight loss, you have to really look at this. You have to look what's going on between the ears. You have to look at your behaviors, and you're overcommitting, overworking, type A personality, and obsessing about this, and people pleasing, serving everyone else. That's the issue, because it's adding to the stress bucket. Okay, and every time you do that, your body doesn't feel safe. So that's the crux of Hashimoto's and autoimmunity, is that it doesn't feel safe to really do the things you want. And that includes energy and all the other things too. It's in survival mode. So we need to get rid of the root issues, of course, I've talked about in the module, each month with new content. But you have to work on the root issues up here that's also feeding into this. And I know it's not the easiest thing. I know it's not the sexiest thing. It's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen by swallowing something. But honestly, I hate to say it, there's no other way to put it. You have to put in the work, and you have to do this. And I'm here to support you if you want that. And that's how this works. But people who want quick fixes and shortcuts and look for protocols on Pinterest, they're not going to get anywhere. Yeah, one person might once in a blue moon, but it's not the norm. So I'm sorry, it's not as easy as you want it to be, but this is how life is. Easy is as my mentor, Dr. Friend, says, easy is earned. All right. So if you just popped in here, totally cool. Watch the replay. I think there's some good gems in here that I kind of threw out there, and hopefully it gives you something to think about. And if you find it helpful, insightful, awesome. If not, sorry, but let me know if there's anything I can do for you, and if you have any questions. All right. But I hope you have a great, beautiful day. Talk to you all soon. Peace and love.